It's Thursday, November 18th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a prominent member of the Tech Podcast Network. Everyone got a great show lined up for you tonight. A few articles on tap are a nationwide blocking of cell phone usage while driving. Department of Justice is a step closer to being able to shut down websites at will. UK to their internet service providers. Go ahead, prioritize traffic. Don't worry about net neutrality. Yellow Pages sues for ongoing deliveries. That and much, much more coming up next. Okay, strap in. Here it comes.
Coming to you from a dimly lit hotel room with bad Wi-Fi and not enough power outlets, here's everyone's favorite jet-lagged geek, Todd Cochran.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the portable podcasting studio here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have one show left, folks, in Albuquerque before I head back to Honolulu. And today is, I want to give a special warm shout out to my lovely wife. We have been married an amazing 16 years today. So today is our anniversary. I was up early dealing with a client, and she actually beat me to the punch this morning and calling me and welcome me, basically wishing me a happy anniversary, and I did the same to her. We have a little bit of a tradition in the family. She does not like flowers delivered. I have to in other words, she doesn't like a delivery truck showing up and bringing flowers to the house. That is a quick trip for me to the doghouse, so I'll have to plan accordingly when if she's watching. I won't say what I'll have to do next week, but I'm happy to basically, I asked her, so honey, what am I buying you for your anniversary? And she said, well, honey, I think you're buying me she told me what she wanted. It's funny how that all works out. So I'll probably surprise her with something a little special too when I get home. So anyway, that's a nice little shout out to my lovely wife, if she even watches this. Although she told me her and the kids watched the show a couple of episodes ago, which makes me a little bit worried because I was actually talking somewhere in that show about some Christmas presents, and I don't know why they decided to watch. They never do, but they did. Hey, I want to, of course, give a strong and warm welcome to all of the Hana, all the longtime listener of the show. Thanks for being part of the family here, and, of course, being a longtime subscriber to the show. Definitely appreciate you. And thanks, again, thanks for staying subscribed, and tell your friends about the show as you always do, and spread the good word about this show. If you're new to the show, we want to make sure that you get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great articles over there. Of course, our writers they've been hitting some great articles completely out of the ballpark. They've been doing some great write-ups, some great reviews. Of course, we're getting inundated by different vendors saying, hey, are you going to be talking about special stuff for Christmas? Are you going to have a Black Friday special? And we really have never done that here. But what I'll probably do for the Monday show is I get stuff coming in over the next 2 or 3 days. I'll talk about Black Friday and and of course, probably even about Cyber Monday that's forthcoming. What are you guys seeing for best deals out there? Have you saw something that you thought, the day after Thanksgiving, I might venture out to get that, or I'll wait to Cyber Monday to pick something up? Have you seen something already that you're going to get for the Christmas holidays? We'd love to hear from you, of course, but we'll talk about that in the next show. But, as far as the new listeners go, again, make sure you get over to the website, check things out, get subscribed to the show. You'll find the link there on the website. You can subscribe to the podcast, of course. That way you'll never miss an episode. The newsletter guarantees you that you'll get all the show notes delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the show. So never to miss a single episode, and that's the most important part. Of course, we want to welcome our listeners from 178 countries worldwide. Thanks for being here, being part of the family. If you're watching the show on the Roku or Boxy, hey, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching the show. And make sure that you're rating our application over there at Roku and Boxy. Make sure you're giving us a 5-star review if you think we deserve it. We definitely appreciate it when you do. Lots going on here, folks. The TriCaster, it's getting shipped tomorrow. I've got the FedEx shipping documents. With the insurance I have to put on this, it's a $360 one-way trip back to Honolulu. Oh my gosh. Wow is all I can say. So anyway, that's going to be heading out, and along with a whole bunch of other stuff. So the next show will kind of be back to using some older software and stuff. But no worries, we'll be back in Honolulu the following week. But what I'm trying to plan on here is there obviously will not be a show on Thanksgiving night. I just don't see one happening. If things change, I'll let you know. Everyone's going to be eating turkey and having time with the family, and and myself included. But I may do something on Friday. We'll definitely work to have a Saturday show. Be back in the studio, so be able to do a show on Saturday morning. Saturday morning tech show will be back engaged once I'm back, of course, in Honolulu. I've got a lot of work to do in the studio to get things integrated with the new system, and I'm sure I'll spend probably a couple of days doing that. So we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, packed up and getting ready to head out of here next Tuesday. Of course, there'll be one more show here from Albuquerque before I fly out. Make sure you check out live.geeknewscentral.com. And of course, don't forget Podcast Awards. 4 days left to nominate shows. Nominations are closing shortly, so we'll keep you advised on that. Hey, don't forget as well, GoDaddy.com is a longtime sponsor here of the show. And we really appreciate their support. And I know that you, as a listener of this show, appreciate them for basically keeping me in business and keeping the lights on. And when you get over to GoDaddy.com, definitely consider using my promo codes when you get to that checkout counter. I know they're running all kinds of specials and stuff over there right now because of the their push for the holiday spend. But definitely consider me when you get to that checkout counter. Promo code Todd will save you 10% on non-domain orders. Todd20. This is a great one. 20% off on 1 year shared hosting accounts. If you get a 1 year shared hosting account, you get 20% off. What a great Christmas present to someone in your family, someone that is basically needing to get a website started. Great Christmas present, something that will add value to what they do, and consider that. Of course, Geek 5 will save you 15% off orders $20 or more. And of course, all my GoDaddy codes can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Go ahead and link to that webpage if you so feel I desire it or deserve it. And yeah, I do desire it, so if I deserve it, feel free to do so. But that's where all the codes are at. All great savings over there from GoDaddy.com. Well, I just wanted to take a second. I got an email from one of our content creators we work with asking me about a question about one of our competitors. All I'm going to say is I have no information on what is going on with one of our competitors. I know that they continue to have quarter after quarter they've had some financial concerns. I wish nothing but good things for them. I hope that they continue to do well and continue to build their business out and do well. It's a tough economy. It's tough to do business out there. And the last thing that we want to see is another company in the podcasting space go out of business. That would be the worst possible thing that could happen. And I hope that everything continues to, that you make forward progress over there and continue to work things out. My heart goes out to those guys. I know it's tough, and I know they're working hard to bring a lot of great products and services to the shows that they work with. So again, all I can really do is hope that they, do okay and survive this financial storm. But good luck to them over there. Don't really want to mention my name. It's just one of those things. But some of you probably will have already figured it out. But good luck to them. And again, no ill wishes whatsoever for sure. Plenty of time for competition way, 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 way down the road in this still what I really consider a baby industry. This week was kind of interesting. I did a couple of very significant proposals for a variety of media buyers. It's kind of an interest to see where things have actually headed, and we're getting some interest from some new vendors, which is good. And so I put together some very significant proposals, spent a considerable amount of time this week putting those together. So I'm really happy with where that's going. We'll see if that comes into fruition in Q1. And, it's just like anything else. You're, up and down on ad volume and so forth. Of course, a continued sponsor here at this show is GoToMeeting. And with the holidays, Like most of America, you're probably going to be traveling this holiday season. A problem is for many of us, the fourth quarter is usually a very busy time. It's a time that we have to work hard to make sure that we remain profitable and that we break out and that we don't impact our businesses negatively. We try to finish, on an upswing for the year. So you need a tool that will help you conduct business even when you're not face to face with clients or colleagues. I highly recommend online meetings with GoToMeeting. Collaborate on documents in real time, give engaging sales presentations by showing your desktop. After a quick 2-minute download, GoToMeeting can start a scheduled meeting in advance or on the fly. The meeting attendees click a link and instantly see your computer desktop on their computer screen, so your conference calls can be more productive and more efficient. You guys know that I use GoToMeeting here as part of my business. It's a lifesaver for me. I use it when I'm on travel as much as I use it when I'm home, and it's saved me thousands of dollars every year in travel expenses. So as a listener of this show, you can try GoToMeeting free for 45 days. That's a month of unlimited meetings free. And then for this special offer, visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo podcast. I know that's a lot of stuff to do. GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and enter the promo code podcast. Thanks for being a supporter here. And if you could go to meeting a try, let me know. Let me know how you like it. Drop me an email. And we appreciate all feedback, of course. And thanks for going to me for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. Uh, oh, that was cute. My daughter just sent me an SMS with her picture. Nice little smile. So, anyway, let me go ahead here and look at my notes and make sure that I'm through all this stuff so we can get into the content. One thing I was asked in email was what was my plan to bring on the additional 5 shows by the end of the year. It's still in work. It really, really is. And really, what's kind of sucked up a lot of my time over the last month is really working the what we had planned for CES with this new coverage and the live stuff. It's really taken a lot of time, much more than I thought it would, which has kind of deflected me from being able to get those other shows rolled out. So again, it continues to be a goal. So hopefully by near the end of the year we'll be able to do that. Hey, I am still planning on doing my 24-hour podcast, and I haven't quite locked the schedule down yet. I think I had announced initially a date, but I'm looking at my schedule. I may have to do a short travel trip, so I may still might be looking at the 18th of December. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I'll let you know one way or the other what that date will be, and when we'll do the 24-hour podcast. And I'm going to start taking submissions on. If you guys want to hear from someone, if you want to hear a specific person during the 24-hour podcast, let me know who you want to hear. You can send me feedback at geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can call my voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. I'll probably put the word out in the next couple of days and say I'm looking for folks that are interested, and then we'll start filling out the calendar. It's always fun. It's always a great event. And it's always to raise money for a specific charity, which I have not picked yet for this year. I have something in them working in my mind a little bit. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I got to make sure there's a correct angle to get that money. A lot of times what you'll do is you'll think, oh, I'm going to do a charity for this. And then when you're looking at the company and you're looking at the corporation, make sure they're nonprofit and how much money they actually spend from the stuff that's donated. And I try to maximize that and make sure that we have a good charity to go to. So I'll still work that over the next couple of weeks, but I think December 18th is the plan on the 24-hour podcast. Okay, let me go ahead and get into content tonight so that you guys aren't too bored here with just me chatting away. And let's talk a little bit initially here about the mobile space. Verizon has axed its $10 add-on line cost for new smartphones on family plans. Now here's the trick. If you go out and add a phone to your Verizon account, and it's a smartphone, and you add the $29.95 a month data plan to that smartphone, they're going to give you the line for minus the $10 a month. Wasn't that real nice of them? Now, if you don't have a smartphone and you're not getting a $29.95 data plan, the $10 still applies. So obviously, they're trying to get you guys to have a little extra incentive to pick up a family plan smartphone for this Christmas season. So if any of you are looking to do that, this might be the time to make that jump. You know what, my son he wants a smartphone, and I said, well, if you can earn enough money to pay for your data plan, we'll consider it. And he, go right online and was looking at the data plans, and he was a little bit surprised how much it cost. And at his age, he's not quite able to earn that revenue. So we'll see if he continues to want a smartphone with a data plan. Hey, Steve Wozniak really raised some controversy today. He was talking about Android's future, and he was hinting around that he thought it was a great one. And some people took some of his comments out of context. Basically, they thought Steve was really downbasing of the what has happened with the iPhone, and he thinks that Android's going to win in the long term. And really, it's I guess from that context, he made an update this afternoon. He said I was misquoted on a few things. He says that he said that he never did say that the Android was better than the iOS platform. And he said that almost every app I have is better on the iPhone than it is on the Android. So, but anyway, there is a audio file of this that Engadget recorded, and they've linked this up in the show note over on AndroidCentral.com. I'll have this for you. You can check it out, and if you want to hear exactly what Woz said, you can do that yourself. But a little bit, boy, it made headlines almost immediately today for sure. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to work at Google? I think if I was to have a full-time job at a company in Silicon Valley, obviously Google would be an exciting place to work at. I don't think Apple would be. It's almost too repressive, and the controls and the not being able to speak out would really not fly with my personality. But Don Dodge has posted an article on his first year at Google, talking about being googly and how the company moves at light speed, and about the bonus system and how people were rewarded for great performance. Talks a little bit about Google Ventures. Kind of an interesting insight. I know many of us have seen many articles from different people talking about life at Google, basically working there. And I think that the only thing that I think would be a challenge is I think that working at Google would probably be pretty hard on the family life. I think the employees there are expected to put in extremely long hours. And I would probably think that's probably why, a large percentage of their employees are younger, because maybe they're willing to put those extra hours in for those big bucks. But anyway, Don Dodge on his first year at Google. I'll have the link up in the show notes. Hey, congratulations if you live in Orlando. The Orlando airport is the first to opt out of the TSA screening program. He said, the airport commissioner said, amid concerns over radiation from scanners, civil lawsuits over pat downs, and general ineptitude on the part of TSA airport personnel, a Florida airport has thrown out the towel. Orlando Sanford International Airport has announced that it will opt out of the TSA screening program. I didn't even know this was an option. I guess the TSA program is a pilot program and not mandatory, because Orlando is a tourist destination. They said they can't afford the backlash. They don't want kids being patted down that are leaving, or even the chance of going to Disney World and so forth. And many Europeans who go to Disney World have said that they will not go if it all involves having their kids groped, and a lot of kids go through Orlando. And he says, this is pretty big. This is big news. So I guess this is not the big airport, but this is where international charters and Iceland Air go. So it's not where, all your major carriers go into. So anybody that lives in the Orlando area maybe can tell me if this place is big or not, if it's just like a mini Muni airport. But if they've got an international hub, that means they've got customs people there. So it can't be that small, I wouldn't think. But or at least one airport in Orlando has thrown down the gauntlet. Verizon has launched a 4G smack attack against AT&T. They've got this great advertisement out that says 4G LTE, the fastest 4G network in America. Verizon now has 4G service. AT&T doesn't. Uh, uh, Verizon doesn't have LTE yet. I don't see that it's launched. I don't see that it's available. I guess it's coming in February. So why, making the claim now when you don't even have this yet? So what's interesting here is they got this map, okay? So they show the layout of AT&T's 3G coverage, and it shows Verizon 3G in red. It's this big red poster. And then it shows the 4G market in little brown and just little itty bitty brown dots across the country. We'll see. Verizon has one of the Verizon executives has said that they're going to reconsider how LTE is priced. They say they're going to consider pricing LTE just as we have our broadband price for our homes. They're thinking about having it capped. In other words, let's say each customer is going to get 5 gigs, let's just say, for example, and you're going to get to choose how fast you use the 5 gigs. If you're going to be at this speed, or you're going to be at a low tier, middle tier, or up tier, you're not going to get any more bandwidth. You're just going to get faster access to the content. So that's an interesting development. Normally, when you have a slow speed, it has a certain cap level. A medium speed, you have another cap level, and then the top have an upper cap level. But no. They're saying they're going to lock the cap in, and then you're going to get to pay for the speed you want. It just goes to show you these folks are greedy. They understand they're in trouble because of the growing need for bandwidth. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get very, very expensive for internet services over mobile. What we really need to do in this country, and what's missing in many places, I went all over Albuquerque since I've been here. I went to multiple restaurants, and the first thing I do is check for Wi Fi. Now, in and around the college, in all the restaurants in and around the college area, University of New Mexico, Wi Fi was everywhere. I mean, every place I went, there was Wi Fi. I found a Wi Fi in one restaurant close to me that is a barbecue place. And then everywhere else I've gone on the outlying areas of Albuquerque, and Albuquerque's pretty spread out, very few restaurants with Wi Fi. And I just think to myself, and even places of business, we really need to get Wi Fi everywhere so that we don't have to deal with the issues at hand with these great carriers on these data plans. That's the way we do this. I know in Europe, Wi-Fi is pretty widely available. My understanding. I just wish it was more here for sure. All right, over on Geek News Central, Jeffrey Powers wrote an article about Hulu Plus activated on the Roku for $7.99 a month, and he's got a pretty good write-up on this. So if you are want to be a subscribed to Hulu Plus on your Roku, you can do so for $7.99. So make sure when you pick up your Roku that you add both the Blueberry and Tech Podcast Network channels. We definitely appreciate that. And let me know what you think about the quality of Hulu Plus at $7.99 if you've subscribed to it. I'm going to have to take a look at that a little closer, and I may consider doing that myself. We're close. I tell you, it's close to the point of being able to cut the wire here, that's for sure. In fact, Time Warner is so impacted by the number of subscribers that are actually subscribing to they've lost a lot of customers because of their saying, quote unquote, the economy. And what I think it's people cutting the cord. But what they're doing now is they're offering a new tier, a $40 tier service that gives a grouping of channels minus ESPN. And I thought, oh, you guys know I'm not a big sports guy. I could care less if I had ESPN on my cable channel or not. So when I get home, I'm going to be saying, okay, as long as TLC and all those other channels I like to watch periodically are on there, I'm going to opt down to a lower plan because I think I have their top plan now. But, I think for many of us, this may be a way to start, weaning ourselves off the cable providers. And look forward to seeing what channels are actually offered on this new plan by the folks at Time Warner. And you can tell they're under a little pressure. So we'll see how many more programming changes they make here in the near future. All right, over on hackcollege.com, Google Docs finally has went mobile. So now you're able to do mobile editing in Google Docs. You can do this on almost any phone. Android users even get built-in dictation, which is pretty cool. Which probably will, I'd like to see how well that actually actually works. And folks are saying it works pretty good on the iPad as well. So it's much better than the Docs to Go app that's out there. So definitely check that out if you're using Google Docs at all. You now can access it with your mobile phone and do editing on there. How many of you are big or old school? And you like old Atari 2600 games? Well, you can now play Atari 2600 games free in Windows. It's called Stella. Stella is a multi-platform Atari 26 VCS emulator, and it has old games like Asteroids, Centipede, Donkey Kong. That's going back a ways, isn't it? So all you got to do is go to the Stella website and download and install the latest release. And this is it's actually on SourceForge. It's stella.sourceforge.net, or you just Google it out there. And I was looking at this, and I'm like, oh man, this is like some hardcore old stuff. But anyway, check it out. If you're an Atari 2600 fan, you can now pick this stuff up for free. Hey, also, you guys remember we talked about what was the name of the company? IVI, that was allowing you to get television channels from a variety of markets in New York, I think in LA as well. Well, now you can get free TV online at filmon.com. So FilmOn is doing essentially the same thing as Ivy.tv. Again, IVTV rebroadcast in New York, and Seattle, not LA. FilmOn is doing the same for Los Angeles. So a bunch of channels there: KCLA, KVCR, Ion, My 13LA, CBS LA, KITV, NBC HD, ABC7, Universal Sports, and a number of other channels that are broadcast in Los Angeles. So a bunch of free channels there. If you're like LATV, this is a way to go. So I'm sure this is another lawsuit in the making for sure. If you have downloaded the Firefox beta, and I'm actually using that tonight here for the show, and it's actually using a much smaller footprint than what's normally used. I've been using Chrome up to this point, but I'm trying Firefox 4 out tonight to see how it handles for the show. But if you want to know how to sync your bookmarks in the latest Firefox 4 beta, there's a great instructional over at makingwindowseasy.com. I have this link up in the show notes for you. And you can set up sync across multiple computers. And this is good if you wanted to give that a try. So that'll be available for you. Link up in the show notes. Over on GigaOM, they got an article here about Amazon. You hear about Amazon Studios? This was announced a couple of days ago, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to it because it was they basically said Amazon was going to be starting its own movie studio and doing feature run or feature length, putting together feature length movies. Well, Amazon wants to offer aspiring filmmakers more exposure by allowing them to submit scripts and test films and receive an exchange a total of $2.7 million in prize money and the chance to see their projects made into major motion films. Over 500 projects from scripts to test films have been submitted so far, but check this out. In the fine print, and boy, this is where people really get in trouble by not reading the fine print, and they actually have this bolded in the agreement, so they at least did that. They said, this agreement gives us right in content you contribute to Amazon Studios. Please read it carefully. Now, you're going to surrender all rights to your intellectual property if you revise someone else's script, if you make a test movie based on someone else's script, if you revise someone else's film, and Amazon wants the option scripts for free. They are saying if you submit this to Amazon, that locks you into an agreement for Amazon to review and look over your script for 18 months. This is an 18-month exclusivity period. Now, normally, when a normal studio takes a script in, they're paid for that exclusivity. Say, okay, we're going to pay you X number of dollars each month to hold this script, and then when we quit paying you, or whatever the term is, you're allowed to go ahead and shop this other places. The a bunch of the people that are in unions and writers guilds and said, hey, hold up, people. You need to be very careful what you're signing here. And Amazon studio representatives have not responded to this yet. But this is very scary stuff here. So, if you've submitted something to Amazon, they own it now for 18 months. You can't go shop around, do anything with it. You can't create a movie, you can't create a film. So be very careful, content creators out there. Be very, very careful. Okay, well, I tell you, it's just like there's a new article every day on this, and the numbers are all over the place. And we've talked about this 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks, but talking about people that are cutting the cord. And I don't know what to believe now because every time a new report comes out, the numbers are different. So there's a new article about customers cutting the cords in quarter 3. I'm not even going to go into the numbers in this because we've already talked about it 2 or 3 times. And who's right? Who's right in these trends? Are they getting this information from quarterly reports from Dish and all the other providers that's being announced in their stock performance stuff? You would think all the numbers would be same and there wouldn't be 5 different articles, but people are saying that quarter 3 is generally a time when they gain subscribers, and that's something that's true for the podcasting space as well. The weather starts changing, people start coming in. So I don't know. We'll see. Hey, one thing I had to laugh today. This is absolutely summed it up. You guys know how I ranted last show on Facebook email. Who would want Facebook email? Give me a break. And I went on and on about that. In PCMag.com, they have this article saying Facebook is the new AOL. That is so true. That is so true. AOL, the only difference is you don't have to get 100 discs sent to your mailbox every year. Those of us that have been around when AOL was still selling dial-up services and they had their, all their forums and, it was just this locked-in, brick-walled community, which Facebook really is too. But it looks like Facebook is the new AOL, and this is very close. I think this headline is a $1,000 headline. It's true. It's absolutely true. In his analogy here, he says MySpace is actually CompuServe. Jeez. MySpace is a little rougher edge than Facebook, just as CompuServe was a rougher edge version of L. CompuServe was not even. CompuServe was definitely a place for geeks. It wasn't a place for consumers. And AOL was more of a place for consumers that didn't have a clue on how to get on the internet and so forth. And so I think this is kind of funny. This is a great. And who is this written by? Oh, man, no wonder. This is written by John C. Dvorak. I love it. He writes some good, and maybe you don't agree, but how many of you were on AOL in the day and are on Facebook today? Please, please, please email me, geeknews@gmail.com. Call in the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365 and tell me how Facebook is the new AOL. Or if you completely disagree with John's article that'll be linked up in the show notes here, I think this is just. I think he really hit it nail on the head. I wish I would have noticed in the beginning of the article that it was actually John's article. So pretty amazing here. There's an article over on Geek.com, and boy, oh boy, I wish I had this domain. But anyway, 50 ISPs account for half the world's infected machines. They have a report out in a report released by, what is the name of the research group? Research at Delft University of Technology and Michigan State University have made a surprising discovery of all machines around the world are infected and used on botnets. Half of them are located on 50 well-known ISPs. I don't think this should be a surprise. I didn't even look at the list here, but if you think about this, the biggest ISPs will have the most machines that are probably going to be infected, so it goes hand in hand. But the question is, why doesn't these ISPs, they can see all this rogue traffic going through. They can look at what's going on in the network. Why don't they shut these things down? That's the thing that just tells me how clueless the networks are, especially the ISPs. They have just too much traffic. They just can't manage it all. Or over on WindowsStreamBlog.com. You guys heard about the iFi memory card? This is a great device, and what it really does is the iFi is a memory card with a Wi-Fi transmitter in it at the same time. And as you are up taking pictures, it will connect and upload pictures to a variety of services. Um, so it's pretty easy to use. They've been iFi's been available for a long time. I've never used one. I don't know how they actually configure it. But on the Windows Experience blog here, they got a write up on how you can use this to push stuff um, into Windows Live Photo Gallery. So I don't know if you use that. I use Flickr, and matter of fact, I hardly submit very much stuff to Flickr, and I hardly submit stuff to Facebook. But anyway, there's a article here on how to do that. And actually, I think we may equip some of our cameras for CES with one of these iFis so we can push stuff to our Flickr stream a lot faster. How many of you use Pigeon? Well, I have been having trouble with Pigeon as well over the last couple of days, logging into a variety of the instant message chats, instant message services, or IMs. If you've been having trouble logging into MSN, they give some instructions here on how to overcome the bug that's affecting those that are using Pigeon. And there's a way to change a certificate for MSN, and they got the instructions up here. So I'll have this link up in the show notes for those of you that are Pigeon users. And again, what Pigeon is, if you don't know what it is, if you have an account on AOL, MSN, ICQ, I think 2 or 3 other instant message clients, you can add those all to a single program, and then you can be online with all of them at once without having 5 different things on your taskbar. So again, this is a fix for Pigeon, and this was over at Web Update, which says webupd8.org. A little information on the space news. We talked about that comet, right? That was basically a NASA probe took pictures of. Well, apparently, the spacecraft had to survive a cosmic snowstorm once it reached the distant comet 2 weeks ago, but apparently there was no damage to the satellite. And here's what I think it's funny. Oh, it got hit by a cosmic snowstorm. You're thinking, well, how bad was it? Well, it got hit at least 9 times. 9 times. That was a cosmic snowstorm. They say that the ice flakes were very soft. Okay, how could they be soft? He says most particles are small, but some of them may be bigger than any hailstones on Earth. He says that since deep impact was moving at 27,000 miles per hour at the time, even tiny objects could have put some serious dents in the craft if they had been hard enough. So they talk about what's going on with the spacecraft. Is still taking pictures as the comet is heading outbound. They're sending as many as 3,000 pictures a day back to NASA. Hey, congratulations to Virgin Galactic. They have done their 3rd glide flight. So this is big news. Spaceship Two, Virgin Galactic's commercial space liner built to fly passengers, did its 3rd drop. And it was dropped from, of course, from the mothership, the White Knight 2, and it was had 2 pilots on board. So successful test there. I want to know when they're going to do a powered test. That's what I want to see. So anyway, they're keeping moving forward with that. Silver tickets are selling at $200,000 a seat, with over 340 individuals have signed up. 200 grand. 340 people have already signed up. I wonder if they had to make a deposit. Wow. It says for the latest glide flight, Spaceship Two has flown to a more aggressive stall indication with the vehicle maneuvered to 3.5 G level. So during the glide, the crash stability and control were also evaluated. And the space plane was outfitted with a water ballast tank to establish an aft center of gravity. And so Spaceship Two is continue to, I guess they're not saying what they're going to do next, but oh, powered flight ahead. Let me go ahead and look at this. So when are they going to do that? Spaceship 2 is as it heads for powered flights using hybrid rocket engine. When are they going to do it? Do they say? They don't. But should be pretty exciting when they do. I'm sure that'll be national news coverage for sure. So anyway, enough on that. All right, you know you got to love the guys from the International Space Station because every once in a while you get an astronaut up there that cares a little more than the others. Doug Wheelock, commander of the current crew on the station, tweeting under the name of Astro_Wheels. I followed him tonight. He shared some amazing photos of Northern Lights, London and Paris, so definitely check some of these photos out. You can see Florida on a calm, clear night. Absolutely beautiful pictures. And one of these have made my new backdrop on my computer here. So I'll have this link up in the show notes as well. NASA is now aiming for a December 3rd launch of Space Shuttle Discovery. So they think they're going to be able to punch on December 3rd. And I don't want to go into this too deep, but the first alien planet from another galaxy that has been discovered in our Milky Way. And somehow our Milky Way sucked this thing in. It was a sun that's already been through. It's basically it's past its red giant stage, and then there's an actual Earth-like planet or another planet that's actually circling it. And they're talking about some of the exciting information they're getting off of that. So some pretty cool stuff being found by some of the different space programs. Rover, boy oh boy, Spirit has not yet called home. They say maybe at least another month or month and a half before they hope to hear. Well, they wanted to hear from Spirit already. They think it could be getting enough power to call home, but it has not yet. Spirit has not communicated with Earth since March 22nd of this year. The team has been, at JPL, been pinging the rover at specific times to try to give it to say hello or beep back and say, I'm alive. It has not happened yet. The JPL folks are not getting too crazy excited yet. They are a little bit nervous. They're optimistic. They didn't want to give any percentages on what the chance is, but they say that they feel that it's a good chance that the rover will still call home. But it was all dependent upon the clock, the mission clock keeping running. If the mission clock did not keep running, then it could be big trouble, and Spirit may be done for, but we'll only tell. Hey, remember on the last show I linked up a video about some folks that build a 15-story apartment in 7 days. Well, another video from China about an apartment building. This is a 12-story apartment building that apparently was I don't know if it was built as fast, but it fell down in 3 seconds. Yes, that's correct. It fell down. A 12-story apartment building fell down. I'll have the link up in the show notes. You can check out the video. Makes you wonder if building an apartment building in 7 days is a smart thing to do, especially when you have a 12-story one that just tips over. All right, now, the tallest skyscraper in the world. How would you like to sit on the top of this? It's the Burj Khalifa. This is in, I believe, in Dubai I think Dubai. Apparently, Tom Cruise is sitting. It was a video of him was caught sitting on top of the world's tallest building. And there's a picture to the left of this image on Gizmodo that shows this building and shows where he was sitting, and then there's a close-up of where he is. I guess he's shooting another movie there, another Mission Impossible video or a movie. But check this out. This is a thing that kind of blows me away. How did he get there? He took the elevator BS1 concourse to level 138, 508 meters. Then on elevator BS3, level 138 to level 160 was 621 meters. From there, he got on letter BS4, level 160 to 18B, to 646 meters. After that, he climbed the ladder from 18B to Section 19, 653 meters, went from Section 19 to Section 21, 691 meters, taking the steep stair landings, and he climbed the ladder inside the pinnacle pipe, Section 21, to the top platform of 826 meters. So he climbed 443 feet up a ladder, yes, a ladder, to get to the top. I wonder if they had a safety harness on him. I wonder how long it took to get there. Would you like to sit on top of the world's tallest skyscraper? I don't know if he's wearing a parachute in this, but it looks he's got his legs hanging out over the edge. You know, I wonder what his insurance company thinks of that. I'm sure he has an insurance policy that is unbelievable. But no, I don't think I would do that. But yeah, maybe why. I might take my head, I might peek up at the top. All right, talk about people that are compelled to do crazy things. You know, like there's all kinds of virtual worlds, right? Apparently, a week ago, a man sold a nightclub in the online sci-fi game Entropia Universe. I have never heard of this. Okay, check this out. Again, a man sold a nightclub in an online sci-fi game Entropia Universe for $335,000 real dollars. Forbes tracked down the fool or the idiot or the who would do this? Who would pay $335,000 for a virtual nightclub? This is what the new owner says. When motion pictures were first invented, there were a lot of critics saying that it is novelty act and it would never amount to anything, nor will be able to make any real money once the novelty wears off. Last time I checked, Avatar has grossed $2.7 billion worldwide. Most recent example is MTV and Internet, but then you know those stories well enough. No, I don't. Virtual Universe is the next logical step in world entertainment, and although there's a lot of critics and people shaking heads, it's here to stay and take its ranks among the greats. Up until now, he's only been playing 10 to 20 hours a week. Only. I'm sure he's not married. But now he's made a large purchase, so he plans on decreasing the hours spent in his software job, and he can spend 40 to 60 hours a week playing. I don't get it. You know, Second Life, I have some property I will sell you in Second Life. It's beautiful. It's got a digitally pre-made home, one of those things you pay 100 lindens for, and you unwrap it, and it just drops on your property. You adjust it where you want it. I will sell you my property and my pre-made linden home. I'll take $20 for it. How about 2,000? 200? Yeah, did I hear 200,000 out there? Give me a break. Unbelievable. 333. What is it? 335,000 for virtual real estate? Man, how did he either had that money in the bank? Can you imagine going to your banker? Yeah, I'm going to buy a nightclub. Oh, you are? How big is it? Oh, it's 25,000 square feet. It's got multiple property. It's got multiple buildings on the property. It's got 10 bars. Blah blah blah. Whoa, how much do you want? I need $335,000 to loan me, please, to buy this. Oh, absolutely. Let's set you up with a loan, sir. Now, imagine the bank trying to get the deed on that. Insane. Wow. All right. How many of you have a cell phone booster? I do. My mom does. A lot of you do. You guys know that where I live, it's just been horrible. But all of a sudden, folks are in the AT&T and Verizon are saying that these boosters cause network interference. and they want them outlawed. They don't want allow us to have cell phone boosters in our homes. Well, you know that the AT&T sells the Fem2 cells, right? Well, I can almost guarantee you if you open up the Fem2 cell and look inside, it's probably got a little amplifier in there that boosts the signal. Oh, you got to pay $20 a month for that. That's $240 a year. But you can buy one of those cell phone boosters for under $250, and that's your price you pay forever. They're not happy. They want these outlawed. They want these shut down. They don't want these companies to be allowed to sell these. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Hey, Google is reportedly charging the federal government $25 a head for user surveillance. So if the feds want to surveil somebody on Google, like the Drug Enforcement Agency, Google charges them $25 per user, whereas Microsoft does not. And so it says here that the DEA is spending a huge amount of money on these requests. Looks like $6.7 million for basically, or a total of about 14.2 total for wiretaps out to the variety of service providers, paying them to spy on criminals. So I guess as long as they're getting bad guys, it's worth it. That's for sure. Mozilla is still making 86% of their cash from Google. This is out in a report today. So Google still provides 86% of Mozilla's revenue, and this was according to the latest financial statement. All right, the folks at CERN, CERN, have created and trapped anti-hydrogen in an attempt to study the underpinnings of the standard model of physics. Yes, antihydrogen is pretty close to antimatter. Antihydrogen is made of antiparticles, specifically an antiproton and a positron instead of a proton and electron. It has the same mass but opposite charge. Of course, antimatter has a bad reputation for being a little bit dangerous, but basically what's going on here. The reality is, if you gather all the antimatter that CERN has ever collected, you wouldn't garner enough energy to power your laptop. Reading through this. And so anyway, this article's over on Ars Technica. I'll have the link up in the show notes for you. The UK has told their ISPs, hey, go ahead and prioritize all your traffic. You don't have to have any net neutrality rules so long as you tell us. Or tell the users. So Europe and UK has long championed the view that its countries don't really need net neutrality. So basically, the government has basically said that you can do whatever you want. You just need to tell you users that you're doing this and you're prioritizing certain traffic. Over, of course, the TSA boss, that's the guy that's in charge of these backscatter scanners. He has basically been through a number of Senate hearings here, and he has basically said that our pat-downs turn up artfully concealed objects. So they're actually finding a bunch of stuff here. So we know that the EIT scanning program, which can see through clothing, are being used in a lot of different, over 1,000 machines are in use in different airports across the country. Article over on Extreme Tech. I had to read this twice. Space-time cloak could hide actual events. I read a book recently. It was kind of a really way out there sci-fi book that talked about the day the sun went out. And it basically was this, the pretense of it that was some alien race was protecting us from the views outside of Earth by having put some sort of cloak around the Earth. And that was the pretense of the book. And I didn't get it finished yet, so I don't know how it ends. But long story short here, there's a study out that a space-time cloak could hide actual events. They would use fiber optics and a variety of different materials to put up a cloak in space that would have to be very big, obviously, that would be able to be basically connected to some sort of a generator, video generator, that would reproduce what we would see in the sky. And this cloak could hide actual events. Here's the question I want to ask you guys. Why would they need this? Why would they even want to consider this? I know this is just in theory, a discussion. But discussions today is 50 years from now reality. And I don't know if they're referring to aliens putting this up or a government putting this up to hide something behind the veil in space that they're trying to hide. Why would they try to hide something in space? Would it be because they don't want us to see something coming at us? Is that how they're going to protect us from our, the end days, if that's what's forthcoming? It said, while this would be great for a burglar looking to rob a jewelry store right now, it's all on paper. To generate a space-time void of even a few minutes require a cloak larger than Earth. The report said because the space required to combine the two edges of the light waves would be essentially required to be the width of the Earth, essentially. So this is like out there. I think we might as well just focus on the transporter from Star Trek instead of this. But man, scientists can think up some crazy stuff. They really, really can. Okay, let's talk just a little bit about this Senate panel who has approved a website shutdown bill. The Senate Judiciary Committee has voted 19-0. So that means all Republicans and all Democrats have voted in favor of a bill that would allow the Department of Justice to seek court orders to shut down websites offering materials believed to infringe copyright. To shut down websites offering materials believed to infringe copyright. Rogue websites are essentially digital stores selling illegal and sometimes dangerous product. Senator Patrick Leahy, the main sponsor of the bill, said in a statement, if they existed in the physical world, the store would be shuttered immediately and the proprietors would be arrested. We cannot excuse the behavior because it happens online and the owners operate overseas. The internet needs to be free, not lawless. However, the internet will likely remain lawless for a while longer as there are only a few working days left in the congressional session, and the bill is unlikely to pass through the House of Representatives in that short amount of time. I don't think anything's going to get passed through the House of Representatives anytime soon, the way they're talking on TV already. Sounds to me like it's going to be 2 years of this. Good article over on silicon.com, how NASA astronauts use IT on the International Space Station. It's a 4-page article. This is a good one. Talks about the technology used, how it gets updated, how stuff on the space station is obviously 3 to 4 years behind what we have sitting on our desk today. Talks about the operation of this space station, how they troubleshoot power issues. It's pretty interesting. So I have that link up for you in the show notes. Hey, over on Tech Dirt, Transportation Secretary expect to use technology to block all mobile phone usage in cars. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood has been an advocate of wider bans on various technologies in cars. He said he hoped to complete a ban on talking to any kind of device in your car, including mobile phones, telematic systems like OnStar and GPS systems, and he suggests that perhaps the U.S. government will mandate technology that blocks a mobile phone from working in the car while it's moving. You know, if you're using a hands-free device, you know, what are they going to do? They're going to ban talking? They're going to have a monitor in your vehicle. If you talk to a passenger, it shuts the car off? I don't agree with this. The government needs to stay the heck out of our personal lives. If you kill somebody and you're talking on the phone while you're driving, then guess what? You're going to pay for that. You're probably going to get charged with manslaughter and you're probably going to go to jail. I understand there are victims. But you know what? I'm about sick and tired of the government telling me what I can do and where I can do, like talking on the phone. What comes next? No smoking in cars. No transporting kids. What's next? What do you guys think? Do you think they should ban all talking in cars? Do you guys think this should be a ban? Love to hear your feedback on this. Geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline 619-342-7365. Okay, there's a list as well. I should add this next. This is a list of all of those senators who voted to censor the internet. I'll have that link up in the show notes. And here's my favorite article of the night. Yellow Pages, yes, Yellow Pages, have sued Seattle for new law letting people opt out of getting the phone book. Tonight, as I was getting ready for the show, I decided to go ahead and, for the first time since I've been here in Albuquerque, just order a pizza and have it delivered to the room. So I brought up my favorite pizza place chain that delivers. I put in the area code. It gave me a thing to order right online. I went in and ordered my pizza online, and 27 minutes later, there was a knock on my door with my pizza delivery. I didn't talk to anyone. Didn't hand him his tip. Took my pizza, had some dinner, put the rest of it in the refrigerator. That whole transaction online, I guaranteed my order was correct because I could check it on there, got the toppings I wanted. It was perfect, right? How many times have you had a pizza delivered that you talked over the phone and it came and it was the wrong order? I got the perfect order. I didn't. You have to use Yellow Pages to find a pizza parlor. Sure, I probably could have found a mom and pop place here if I went to the Yellow Pages, but I knew what I wanted, and that's the same way. Anything I want in this town, anything that I've done, I have either used my phone to find a business. I've either searched on the internet for it. I have never even had to open a Yellow Pages up to do anything. But Yellow Pages is suing Seattle for a new law letting people opt out of getting the phone book. The Yellow Pages Association has now sued the city, claiming that this law is a First Amendment violation. Yellow Pages, you are a business. Your First Amendment rights are not being impacted, your business is. So you should do just like everyone else is, change your business model. Get the Yellow Pages online and make it compelling for me to go to yellow.com or wherever you're at to find what I want in the cities I visit or in my own city. The Seattle ordinance unfairly singles out the Yellow Pages industry with regulations and fees that are not imposed on other media, including discriminatory license fees for the right to publish and unprecedented advance recovery fees. Goes on and on and on this lawsuit language. So their business in trouble. They charge. How much I looked years ago into running, one of those little itty bitty ads in the Yellow Pages was about this big. That's how big it would have been in the Yellow Pages. About a half inch wide by maybe an inch. Just a little itty. It was like $1,800 a year to be listed in the privilege of being listed in the Yellow Pages. Back in the day when we didn't have the internet, that was probably an acceptable marketing expense. But today, you just better take some time and put some stuff on your website and put an address where your business is. Get it, use the keywords that you need for your city, and you'll be found. Give me a break. Give me a break. Suing the city of Seattle. Yellow, I thought you already moved online anyway. All right, let's go ahead and get into the voicemails that have come, or the hotline calls. And we got 2 of those tonight. So again, if you got comments on the show, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. Here comes the first one. We'll play both of these, and then I will get into the email, and we'll wrap the show up. Here comes the first hotline call.
Hi, Todd. This is Rob in Pittsburgh. On Monday night's show, you were asking if we were going to be willing to give up our GPS, dedicated GPS for a smartphone. And what I found was I got a Garmin phone for something I needed to do. I needed a lot of places to go for my son's graduation in one weekend, and I got it specifically for that. And wasn't real impressed with the announcement, but it ended up becoming my main phone because they've really integrated the GPS functions with the phone. For example, when you put the phone in the car, it automatically will switch to speaker when a call comes in. When you take it out of the car, it automatically remembers the parking spot without having to fiddle with an app. So they integrated that real well. It's not like a separate GPS and a separate smartphone. So I was impressed enough that it ended up becoming my main phone permanently, to my surprise. But I don't think that phone became that popular. But just just because there's so many other ones out there on the market, it didn't, make a lot of get a lot of market share. So I think it's a underrated phone. But anyway, instead of getting rid of the GPS, that might be the way to go, is to get one device that encompasses both. Hey, thanks a lot for the great show. Take care. Aloha. Bye.
Hey, thanks for the call and thanks for the feedback. I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, it's interesting to see where people are moving between having a mobile phone as their GPS or one that serves a dual purpose. And yeah, thanks for your feedback. It's definitely appreciated. Okay, the next voicemail is from Trucker Tom. Here we go.
Tom Wiles here, aka Trucker Tom. Been catching up on your podcast, got a little bit behind. Listening to, I guess it was the next to the last podcast as I record this, and you were talking about Google AdSense and how it, starting out, when you first started with it, you were doing pretty good with it as far as making money on it, and then over time the money dropped off. And I've basically had the same experience with Google AdSense. At first, it was doing pretty good for me, and then over time, it just kind of petered out, and so it's not nearly as good as it used to be. And I think what's happened, we've all gotten used to seeing the Google AdSense ads, and we ignore them. To prove the point, you're going to websites constantly that have Google AdSense ads. Can you think of the last website that you looked at, that had Google AdSense ads? Probably not. I can't. I know I've browsed a few websites today. I can't remember, I know that I've probably looked at Google ads, but they just don't register anymore. And so I think that's what the problem is. People are so used to seeing them, they just kind of ignore them. Anyhow, keep up the great work. We'll catch you later.
Hey, Tom, I agree. I think that's probably a big part of it, and I think that's the reason why, a lot of folks are not, making very much. I know, but some people still make a lot of money on AdSense on their websites. I think a lot of it has to do with, people just paying for impressions. They pay so much per thousand, and they're not always paying on a per click basis. So I think that might be part of it as well. So thanks for your call and thanks for your feedback. I definitely appreciate it, and I definitely agree with you on that as well. So maybe that's the key. I was looking here. I had a listener that wrote in a comment for the show talking about, and I can't find it in the comments, so I'm going to have to paraphrase here, and I apologize. I'm looking all over for the actual. I just don't see it here. The email. I thought I copied it into the folder, but anyway, what the context of the email was, and I apologize to the listener that sent the email in, was, we're talking about these backscatter scanners, and he says, Todd, we're complaining about this, but we really need to come up with a better solution. We need to suggest a solution that will allow us to have good security while at the same time not basically having people feel like their privacy is being invaded, and at the same time have it done safely. And so that was the context of the email. I'll try to find it and cover it more in detail in the show, next show. So I guess the question I want to ask all of you at this point is, what do we do if we don't like this backscatter scanner, which we're not going to get away with, which what's not going to go away, And if we don't like these overly aggressive, basically, these pat downs, what's the next solution? Now, for me, I have no choice. I have to fly. I live in Honolulu. There are no boats going between Hawaii and Los Angeles or San Francisco. It just doesn't exist. But I have to fly, and many of you can get in your cars and drive, and you don't have to fly anywhere. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to get on an airplane. So what is this? What is the solution? Should we go and do our security like the Israelis do? Should we adopt? Because Europe has had much bigger trouble with airport security in the past, and it has much heavier security than we do. Should we go to their methods? What's your experience in where you've traveled throughout the world? What do you think would be a good solution for basically traveling and going through airport security? So hopefully I can find that, and we'll talk about it in more detail in the next show. But I apologize, listener. I thought it was in the folder, and I did not find it. I got an email here from George. He says, "Hey Ted, I've been listening to every one of your great podcasts since I purchased the first generation iPhone when it first came out. He said, I need some insight from the wisdom of your audience. I have a MacBook Pro iPhone with an external 2 terabyte hard drive for backs up with Time Machine and use Dropbox for syncing some files. He said, I just added a new MacBook Air to my hardware collection, and I would like to have the ability to do the following. Connect my iPhone to either the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air and have my podcast, contacts, calendar, and iPhone app synchronized to the iPhone. Sorry, you are. I can answer this first question, George. You are, unless there's another tool out there, you're locked into one version of iTunes. You have to choose a machine and choose the unless someone tells me differently. But my understanding is it's locked into a single iTunes installation. I don't think you can bounce between. Number 2, create documents on either the MacBook Pro or MacBook Air and have those documents synchronized to both machines. I'm sure there's some tool out there, and maybe there's a Mac user that can help us out there. Have the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air backed up to the 2 terabyte hard drive and have the ability to restore each system independently if the need arises. My understanding is with Time Machine, the question is the 2 terabyte hard drive connected via, I'm sure, FireWire, probably to the original MacBook Pro? I think you can make that drive map that drive and designate it in Time Machine, and I think you can back up both machines to the same hard drive. I think you just have to, designate that as a shared drive. I don't know exactly how that's done in Macs, but maybe someone can give a more detailed response. I'm sure a lot of people have the same type of configuration. He said, I would greatly appreciate if your audience provides solutions for synchronizing multiple Macs in the relevant content, contact, calendar, apps, podcasts of an iPhone. Kind regards, George. And he's out of Tarzana, California. I hope I pronounced that, Tarzana, California. And check him out at Gari, Gari, digital.com. He got an email here from Emily. And actually, this is a pitch. And it really bothered me. And maybe, did I get this from? No, okay. It says, Hi, I know that I have emailed you before about Buckyballs, the world's best-selling desk toy. Get buckyballs.com. But the guys at the company asked me to reach out about possibly giving you some for your readers. If you're interested, let me know. They'll send free sets, 3 maybe, for you to give away to your readers any way you choose. Have a contest. Pick a commenter you like. Any way you want to do it's okay, so long as you show the video of the balls in action. Blah, 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 so readers know what they're playing for, and maybe a promo code too, so even the non-winners can win too. This came from Pitch Control PR. And everyone wants to give me something to give away to the audience, which is cool. And actually, I just gave the folks over at Buckyballs about $800 worth of advertising. That quick, okay? Just that quick, we've gave them $800 just by talking about it here on the show. I'm not recommending you go over there and buy any. So my response to them was basically, hey, Emily, why don't you let me send you a proposal for an advertising campaign where we can advertise Buckyballs on the show? I'm certainly not going to advertise, and of course I am, advertise this company on my website for free. So really, it goes back to this issue I'm having right now, where content creators are selling their souls for a cup of coffee. I don't have a cup of coffee here in front of me, but all these companies are sending all this cool stuff to, $5 worth of stuff to give away. Where I'm going to write this deep article, do you think I want to run a contest to give away buckyballs? I'm sorry. You want to be a sponsor of the show? Write a check. You don't have to write a big check. Write me a little check. Have me do a review on it, run a contest. We'll talk about it. It's a sponsored pitch, and you'll get some exposure. You'll get some sales. But don't try to insult me by trying to say, we'll give you some free sets to give away to your audience members. Drives me insane. And the reason they're doing this is because everybody and their brother doesn't have a business model for their blogs or for their podcasts. They want to just, oh, that's cool. Sign me up, sign me up. And they sell their souls for $5. Drives me insane. It really does. No, Emily, I'm not giving away any of that product to the audience. I'm sure you guys are saying, oh, Todd, I'd like some of that. You know what? Tell me what you think. Am I wrong? Should I give that stuff away? Got an email here from Trucker Tom. Said, I don't know if you've been following this. Actually, this came from JP. He said, Chinese C-19 jumbo jet aims to compete with Boeing 737 and Airbus 320. Well, JP, I wonder how much of that technology they stole from Airbus and from Boeing. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll have the link up in the show notes. I'm sorry I ranted at the end, but I'm getting dozens of these emails a day from various companies. Hey, we'll send you over a little battery charger, or we'll send you over a fingernail clipper, or we'll send you over a mouse. No, it's not happening. Okay? Sorry, not happening. All right, folks, thanks for hanging. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being part of the family. Comments on the show, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. 619-342-7365. Again, geeknews@gmail.com. Last show coming up Monday here from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with me. We'll be back in Honolulu late next week. I can't wait to get back to the warm weather and the land of aloha. But until next time, everyone take care and aloha.